We can't hear you.
I did all that talking on mute.
On mute.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to our February edition of Ready, Set, Talk. Today we're going to be talking to couples. I know you couldn't hear me because I was on mute, but we're going to be talking to couples about our 5 love languages. Our next couple is going to be Jackie and Philip Bell. Jackie and Philip have been married 31 years. They have 3 children and 3 beautiful grandchildren. Let's welcome Jackie and Philip to the studio. Welcome, Jackie and Philip.
Hey, y'all.
Oh.
And our third couple is Angel and Ed Cooper. They have been married 30 years and have 3 children. Welcome, Coopers. How are you? I think you're muted, Miss Angel. There you go, Mr. and Mrs. Cooper. How are you? Can you hear us? I think you may need to take your earphones out. You can't hear? Well, let's get started. And hopefully they can come in. They can hear us and come in. So I'm going to start with the Campbells. You guys have been married the shortest amount of times.
Right.
7 months. Tell me about how you love. What is it that you need in your relationship, each of you, that helps you love, that helps you feel love, that helps the relationship, help you bond in the relationship because the love is there?
Okay. So I'll start first.
Okay.
For me, I feel that communication is a way that helps us build our love. Rather it's just how was your day? Good morning. How are you feeling? How was your week? How have things been going on the job? How are you feeling? Just communicating our day to day. I think that helps us get by and helps us figure out how to love each other. Areas that we could improve in, or areas that we're doing just fine in. I think communicating does well for us.
Mm-hmm. I would say communication as well. Also, just understanding, not just communication, being able to understand one another is a must. And I think we do pretty well with that.
When you say understand each other, what do you mean by that?
Like one of our love languages is, I would say, we love to ride bicycles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she understands when I say, "Hey, baby, you want to ride the bike in the morning?" She's like, "Yeah." It's just it's understanding. She understands what makes me happy. I think I understand what makes her happy.
He does.
And being able to communicate and just give each other what we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that something that came easy, or was it something that you guys had to learn to do? What was the transition for you?
I think it came easy.
I agree.
Yeah, it came easy. It was like, for me, I know it sounds so cliche, but it was love at first sight. And it's like our first date, we went to a Maxwell concert.
Mm-hmm.
And we held hands. But before we held hands, she got in the car. We prayed together. I had never done that before. The first date, the first time I ever saw her, we prayed. The first thing we did. So it kind of, the understanding was always there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. And to piggyback off of what he said, just as far as understanding each other, it was so mind blowing that we're alike in so many ways. Music is important to us. All type of different genres, but music is a way of getting through if we're having a bad day or if we're having an awesome day. It just enhances our mood. And we had that in common. Bike riding, we had that in common. Just everything that we like to do or we enjoy individually, we were on the same page with it. So,
and I made note of that because I'm going to ask a question later around that, having things in common and having things the same, and how that enhances or impacts the relationship. Mr. and Mrs. Bell, tell us about what is your love languages and how do you guys love each other that helps the relationship?
You want to start?
Say it again so I can make sure I hit exactly what you need.
Tell us what your love language is, and how you guys speak each other's love language to keep the relationship spicy and going and connected, so that, you know, when our love tanks are empty, we don't connect at all. So how do you guys keep that love tank full so that you keep that connection there?
Well, you know, I think just like the Campbell said, communication is key. I think we all feel a little empty if there's not enough filled in those spaces that affirms us. So at the same time that communication is key, affirmation is key for us. Just to say, you know, you're doing a good job, or even that I'm not feeling well. The communication and the affirmation kind of comes in together and plays an intricate part in our relationship. Because he's my partner, if there's something missing, I feel partial. If it's on his end or if it's on my end, he can feel the disconnect, that there's something that's missing. So I think it's about the communication and the affirmation kind of coexisting together for us.
Is the affirmation part for both of you? Do both of you need that, or is one different than the other? One doesn't need it as much. How does that work?
Definitely it's me. Okay. Because he it doesn't matter, you know, to him. Like, he's good. I think for my husband, it could be, I think, because like you mentioned, we've been married almost 31 years. It'll be 31 years in May. But earlier on in our marriage, it was probably vice versa. You know, maybe I didn't need as much and he needed more. I realized that the longer we've been married, our love language has evolved. In some areas, it's not needed. Some things aren't. And then in some areas, it is needed. So I think it's our languages grow and yield depending on where we are in our phase of marriage, honestly.
Okay. I like that, grow and yield and evolve. Mr. and Mrs. Cooper.
Hello,
everyone. Welcome. So excited to have you guys. So love languages, we're talking about how you love. Tell me about the love language in your relationship and you guys speaking each other's love language and making sure you're consistent with that so that you keep that connection and what it takes to keep your relationship going.
Yeah. Ladies first.
Okay, thank you. So we're excited to be here, and this is a real good important topic for us. So for me, I could tell you from my place of where I am right now, words of affirmation is what I'm in need of. And I also agree with the Bells. You know, maybe 10 years ago, I would have needed acts of service, maybe because my children were younger and I needed my husband to understand where I was in life and where we were together. Right. I do think it evolves. I think that there are times that I need maybe a little gift could always help too, you know what I'm saying? But you know, words of affirmation for me is my love language in this relationship right now.
Well, I believe that my love language is, touch. You know, you gotta, just the physical touch, because sometimes it's just needed. She could, I could be in the kitchen, or she could put a hand on my shoulder, put a hand on my head. I'm like, I just sit back and relax. And now it may not have been that way a while back. You know, it could have been like you said, gifts or you know, like gifts are always nice. You know, gifts are always nice. You know, but I'm right. But mostly like quality time. I'm all about like just spending that quality time with her. So I think those are mine. But I think quality time is also one now for me.
And you say quality time, and this is for all the couples. Anybody can answer. So, I'm a firm believer in that we define things differently based on our experiences, right? So when you say quality time, what does that mean for you? Somebody share what does that mean for them? Because some people feel like quality time is as long as we're in the same house, it's quality time. As long as we're in the same room, it's quality time. Other people feel like, no, we need to be in the same space, actively doing something, and that's quality time. So share with me one of you, it doesn't matter which one, what's your definition and how do you view quality time?
Well, I'll go first if you don't mind. Since I brought it up, like quality time for me would be I could sit down, watch television with my wife. We'll sit there, watch television. If she can stomach what I'm watching, I watch crazy stuff like, wrestling, all the other good stuff just to keep my mind at ease. But it's just the main factor of just being with her in the room, the presence with her. Because earlier on in our relationship, when we got married, we've been married, we just celebrated our 30th year, where this will be our 31st year. And we just earlier on, because of the jobs and stuff that we had, there wasn't that much quality time. We missed a lot. I mean, this went on for like 10 years. Quality time. So I'm grabbing all the quality time I can grab.
Yeah.
You making up time, huh?
Everywhere. Yes, I am.
I don't.
Well, I think the quality time is when you separate yourself from the normal things that you usually do. When you turn the TV off, when you turn the cell phone off, and you focus on each other, that's the quality time.
So being intentional about being present in that time.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think for us especially, I'm glad he said that, because so much of like what the Cooper said is that in the beginning, especially in that first part, with kids, with work, with all the things, sometimes you can find yourself so involved and invested in those other areas that make you a family that we relinquish some of the resolve of our marriage because we're just tending to the needs of everything else, the finances, the home, the kids, and all of that. And sometimes we're present, but we're absent, absent from the needs of one another. Let's just face it, it happens. And I think as you grow into all of it, you understand the real reason why you first got married. It wasn't the kids, it wasn't the house, it wasn't the job. It was because you loved each other and you were attracted, of course. And you still have to continue to date.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. and Mrs. Campbell, they were talking about how things were in the beginning of marriage, and then life happened and they stopped, or there was a pause in it, or it was not there. And then over time it came back. You guys are newly married. Have you put things in place? Are you cognizant of the fact that life can cause a brief pause or stop in showing love and expressing the love languages? Have you guys thought about that and thought about, safeguarding your relationship in that way? Or is that something you haven't really had time to think about?
We're still in the hoo-ha stage. Man, it's like I get home to see my wife. So I don't think I've thought that far. I know it can happen, but right now it's like we're still in I can't believe we're married. Yeah. We got so much stuff we're trying to do, so we kind of focused on that daily. We run a business from home, so it's like a lot of quality time is when we leave out the house. and you know, go enjoy ourselves doing things that we like to do. So yeah.
But I will say, you know, coming into the relationship, we both had our own separate lives, and we joined them together, kind of seamless. There were a couple of bumps, of course, but we kind of ironed them out and kept going. And I'll say, like, even as far as the business, he has an HVAC business, so it's heating there. So it's consistently busy, and so more so on the summer months. So I'd say I probably sit in front of the desk from maybe 9 to 5, and he's out in the field from maybe 9 to 7 or 9 to 8. So I think the way that we manage that is he knows, you know, I'm busy at home. I know he's busy in the field. We communicate, whether it's business wise on the phone throughout the day, or if I'm calling and say, you know, what you doing? Have you eaten? And vice versa. And then by the time he gets home, I think we're both in the routine of kind of just winding down. So once we, you know, shut down and we sit in bed, we may say, how was your day? Or, you know, talk about the day that we had and kind of watch TV and then go to sleep. So I think that's kind of our way of coping. The weekends are free, so that's probably more time where we get out and kind of enjoy ourselves a bit more. But as for right now, I think we do well with managing the differences and the busyness of life and children and work and different things that we experience throughout the day. I think we do good.
Right.
Okay. So what, and this is for all of the couples, what are some challenges you face as a couple in making sure you are, because one of the things that I believe is important is not just knowing your spouse's love language, but speaking that love language, and even more important than that, being consistent, having consistency in your relationship. What has been some of the challenges that you guys have faced with, you know, showing this love language or keeping the spice in the relationship or whatever it takes to, so that your spouse know that you are present with them? What have been some of the challenges you might have faced?
That's such a great question. I don't mind answering that, because you brought up the intentionality of a relationship. And it's funny you said keeping it spicy. We wrote something in a book called Love is Worth the Work. And one challenge that we encourage couples to do is to keep it SP, spicy, special, and spontaneous. And you can get lost in that routine of the regular day-to-day functionality of, you know, getting the kids up, and now everybody's got a sport. And then don't be, you know, if you got a business and you're working and you're in ministry. And then, so we got lost at one point and realized we were just like two ships passing in the night. So you really have to be, really be intentional about loving each other and understanding what that looks like. Because the way I may need to be loved, you know, is not, you know, of course, his language and my language is different, but being understanding to say, I got you. You're
Thank
safe
you.
with me, you know? Yeah.
Thank you.
I like that feeling safe, because when you feel safe with your partner, you're more likely to be vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you're open. And when you're open, you allow a person in your space. And when a person is able to come into your space, that's where the connecting and the bonding happens. We don't connect and bond if we're not in each other's space. So I think that feeling safe is absolutely important in a relationship. And so, Mr. and Mrs. Bell and Mrs. Cooper, you guys have been married the longest. So you have adult children who are out of the house. What was the challenge of going from parenting children who need you to having children who don't need you? And so now you parent differently, so you have more time to be a couple. So you have more time to share the same space without these little people. How did you navigate that path from parenthood to back? I want to say back to marriage, or back to giving attention to your marriage without having the children.
Well, you want to answer one part?
I'll let the girls answer.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, babe.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Go ahead.
babe. Go ahead and say what you were going to say because it was trying to.
Well, with us, mainly my wife, she raised the kids. I was the breadwinner. I'm still the breadwinner. And she was, she had the chore of raising all 3 kids. And they depended on her. She, more or less, was the mother and the father. At one point, how can I say? We were kind of drifting apart.
Mhm.
Being that I was the breadwinner, I'm not at home, and she was at home with the kids. We had to fix that.
Mhm.
We had to come together and fix that. We had to find a place where they could understand that father is gone, but he's still here as the breadwinner. He's still here as the father.
Mhm.
And as time went on, they understood that. They understood that, and we come together. We did things as a family. We connected with each other, and when they got to the teenage years, it began to get better and better because I wasn't away from home all the time. I was there with them. Took time up with them. Took time up with my wife also. So the transition from little kids to teenagers to adults, it was a hard task at the beginning. It was a hard task, but we got through it, and we made it. We made it.
And I think just to see the stages again of our lives, we learned through the stages that the honeymoon stage did end, for us, because we were dealing with the happenings of our life quite quickly. Because when we married, I was actually pregnant with. Well, no, actually, when we married, I had our son, our first child. So the honeymoon stage didn't really happen. We just we're married and let's get to life. That's what happened with us. And so we kept lifing for a long time because life was lifing us, quite frankly. And so now that they are adults, we're trying to, I won't say trying, we're restoring what we had on reserve so many years ago due to the fact that we had to life, and we didn't always have all the tools to life right in marriage. I'm grateful for forums like this now and different things that people are talking about what marriage looks like, opposed to saying what it should look like and it doesn't, and pretending that it does, because those are different things. And we're in ministry, and so we talk to a lot of people, we counsel a lot of moms, because you can lose yourself in the mix of making life happen. And so I think now, honestly, we're probably doing better at loving one another than we did in the beginning, because we realized that the care and confidence that it takes to love one another well.
Now, to piggyback on her, we've known each other since we were 13 years old.
Yeah, we've been together a long time.
So, we know each other. There's, I mean, we know the ins and out of each other, and to be able to be together that long, and to be able to put up with each other that long, is an accomplishment within itself. So yeah.
I think that just to pick up what you said, my wife raised a lot of the raising of the children. I was working with the way my job was. I would either be gone for like 8 hours, or I would have to work for I was in law enforcement. I would have to do like 16-hour shifts. So, and my wife was the one who was being a disciplinary, taking care of the kid. And when I came home, sometimes I come home at 11 o'clock at night. Like, I used to work at a prison, and I would have to digress before she started talking to me about what's going on. So I'm like, okay, now I'm ready. What's going on? And so and it felt like, in a way, I was playing catch up, because I wanted to catch up those days that I missed, those points, especially with the kids. Now that the kids are older, they we joke with them a lot, but I love the fact that I'll still be dad. I'll still be doing what I'm doing, and making sure I'm getting that quality time with my kids, my wife, because I missed that early in our careers. I missed that. And so now I say, you know what, I'm gonna grab as much as I can, because like I told the kid, they're not gonna get rid of me. They can't get rid of me. I told them they're gonna be giving me some pudding when I get old, give my medicine, but that's all right. Put it in the applesauce.
But you gonna be there. I love it. I love it. Mr. and Mrs. Campbell, you guys earlier talked about music being the thing that helps keep, that's something you have in common.
Right.
And you heard these two couples talk about how life, kind of transitioned them away from the love scene, so to speak, into lifing. And you guys, but they came back. But you guys are starting out saying we're recognizing what we have in common. Do you think those things that you have in common will be the things that will be long term, or do you think, it may be music today, but tomorrow it may be something else? Are you looking at it like that, or is like, we have this in common, let's hone in on this and let this be the thing that drives us where we need to go?
Well, for me, I'm trying to hold on to that. I can say that we won't find another love language down the road, but for right now, music, bike riding, and that quality time, shopping, it's something we love to do, and it's like right now we kind of still in the euphoria stage, right? So it's like it's something we love to do. Music, like when I get up in the morning, I'm listening to the music. When we get in the car, we hold hands, listening to the music, and it's just it's breathtaking. So that's something that I want to always hold on to, because it reminds me of day one, right, when I fell in love with her. So that's something I want to take with me forever.
Wow.
For me, I think that's just an original love language for us. So I don't see us changing it. I see that as a commonplace for if we get lost or when we get lost, to always find our way back to that commonplace, or a multitude of commonplaces. Like, okay, you're busy, I'm busy, life is life, being the kids are kidding and everything else. But we have we have these multiple commonplaces where we can always find each other and bond. Just like he said, music. It's just something about it. We go to so many concerts and we enjoy ourselves. We dance like we 12 years old. Like, we don't have no bills, no worries, whatever. But when we get in a concert or when we hear good music, it does something to us. It takes us to a higher level. And I think that will always be an original place for us to find each other. Even if we mad at each other, I may send him a song, he may send me a song, and then it just takes us back to the original love spot. And remember, like, this is me. This is we are. Like, this is us, even, bad or good.
Right.
So I don't see that changing. I would prefer for that to be just a calming ground for us. Even as far as bike riding, if we're having a bad day, let's go catch some fresh air and go on a bike ride, or shopping, or eating. We just have so much in common, honestly.
Not to cut off, but even when we bike ride, we got a speaker on the back of the bike.
Yeah,
and
it's music.
Playing Maxwell.
Yeah.
We just we live by a bike trail, so we ride and we listen to music. It's like it's relief for us. So I want to try to hold on to that for the rest of our days.
It's the common ground, and not to say that everything is all flowers, right? Because we have misunderstandings, we have miscommunications, but we find our way back again through those love languages, right? Sometimes talking about it is not as easy as I'm sorry, or a gift. I'm sorry. It's those the things that help us work through those problems that we have had thus far. And all of those consist of the love languages that we have in common. So.
That gift is still working.
You like those gifts.
When it comes to music, music is my first love.
Right.
If you don't know, I sing all over the place. I used to write music. I used to have a little band back home. But for me, music can take me out of anything. When it comes to the lyrics, it's not just the music, it's the lyrics. When they have good lyrics to a song, it can take you away. Oh yeah, it can take you away.
Absolutely.
So I think I hear the Coopers in the back chiming in. So music must be that thing for everybody. Put some music on, and we're gonna make this good with this music.
It's so true. I love that about this forum and this and the couples, because for us we feel the same way.
We love music,
right? And we sing, and it does a lot of.
I just came in from rehearsal.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so we remember those moments.
Right.
Like, think about, it may be bad, but you can think about why you fell in love, right? And maybe it was that song, right? That one song would get you right back at where you started from. And it's so funny because I was looking, my maiden name is Campbell. And I was listening. I was like, man, we love music too. I don't know. And then the bell said it. There is something about music, that universal language. It does something where it could be like, you know what? You could have had that rough day. The Campbell said it, and you send a text, and it's the song that brings it right back in, right? I love music. I really, really do.
Wonderful. And what I hear in all of that is all of the couples, I hear all of you saying, we're open for this thing to bring us back to a good place. Because sometimes people are not open. You can play music, you can, if they have closed down, it will do nothing. But you guys remain open so that common thing that you like, that thing that has the ability to bring you back to that place of love, you're open for that. And that's important, because it's tough when you're trying to work on speaking your spouse's love language and make things right, and they are just closed down. They're not open to it. So I applaud all of you for having that place to go back. And yes, keep a common ground. One of the questions I think couples should ask when they're upset, what's my why? Why did I marry this person? We forget that thing that attracted us to our spouse early on, that thing that gave us goosebumps, that thing that made us talk on the phone when we had nothing to say, but we were on the phone. Go back to those things. I think those are things we need to hold on to, because they were the innocence of the relationship prior to lifing and children and all of the other things. So I think you should hold on to that. Now it's hard to believe we've been talking for 30 minutes, but we have. But I just have one more question I want to ask. And this is for all of the couples. And that question is, what is your deepest love need that you feel your spouse meets well? And guys, just for this is my little disclaimer. I'm not talking about sex.
Right. Hey, I'm out, man.
Okay.
Lord have mercy.
That was a joke. If that's it for you. But what is your deepest love need that you think your spouse meets well?
Wow, that's a good question. I think the love need is wow.
Let's hear it.
Hold on, baby. My my mind's crazy right now. No, I think the biggest love need is her affection towards me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, she can come up behind me, hug me, or just say a word to me, man, and I'm just like, okay. And it's because, like you said, it does not have to be sexual. It could be like stimulating of the mind, stimulating just words that she says, you know, or sing a song to me, you know. Then I'm just like it's like you fall in love again. I'm that same guy from years ago who wanted to beat up his friend because he liked her. You know, I'm that man.
Lord have mercy.
It's true.
All right. So for me, I believe it's so many things, but not just like the intimate. The intimate side, I'm thinking spiritually and mentally, for him to understand who I am. You know, he gets me, like, for real. And that to me is important, that, you know, I might be who I am to some, but he gets me. That does it for me. And I'm like, okay, bet we can do this another 30 years then.
Wonderful.
For me, I would have to say family, right? We have a blended family. I have 3 kids prior. She has 2. Just the love she shows to my mom, my kids, it's everything to me. So that's major for me. And also she understands me. She understands me. Even though she want to knock me upside my head sometimes. She get me. And that's major. That's major for me.
For me, I would piggyback off of them and say, you know, understanding as well, and more so patience, because I am a woman of many layers. He has rightfully owned, you know, understanding me and getting to understand why I am the way that I am, why I think the way that I think. It amazes me, and loving me through whatever. Even if we have an argument, like, I still know that he loves me. Like, it just shows through everything that he does. And so for me, that's important. Good and bad, I know that he loves me and that he understands me. He has the patience to try to understand me and will listen and hear me out on anything. So that's important for me. And the fact that he doesn't judge me. I may not think the way that he thinks, or I may not feel the way that he feels, but he will open the table discussion. Okay, well, why do you feel that way? Or why do you think that way? Okay, well, this is how I feel. And we'll discuss it. And so for me, that's important because it feels like he is attempting and trying to understand me. And that means a lot.
Okay.
Well, with me, I can be down, I can be in the dumps, but if she continues to tell me, she'll whisper in my ear, "You're my best friend." That does it for me.
Right.
You're my best friend.
Right.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think for me, is that my husband actually educates me, because he helps me learn things daily that I need to know, and even things that not just what I need to know about the world around me.
Mhm.
He educates me in what I need to know about myself.
Mhm.
He sees me.
Mhm.
There's a lot that goes on that, I may be able to mask for the world, for ministry. I'm a writer, so I write about a lot. And so, but oftentimes he'll read what I'm getting ready to send to the editor, and he knows exactly where I am whenever I write. And he'll often just let me know that he sees me. He'll talk about it. So I think the greatest part of him is that he makes me feel seen, and that he knows that I'm always looking at him, so that's why I can tell him that he's my best friend, because I see him. And I think vision is the greatest aspect of our relationship, is being able to see one another right where one another is, and then acknowledging that you're not overlooked.
Absolutely awesome. This has been an awesome discussion. I can't believe our time went so fast. I have to have more conversation with each of you. We have the Campbells, the Coopers, and the Bells. We have had great conversation tonight talking about how do you love. They have, for me, I believe, have been transparent about the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it all worked together to make them who they are today as a couple. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Ready, Set, Talk. Join us next month as we host more guests and talk about more topics that we hope will be beneficial and helpful in your life. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for watching. Good night.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Yes.
Real issues affecting real people in real life. Ready, set, talk. Real issues affecting real people in real life. Ready, set, talk. Come on and talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Let's all talk about it. 'Cause we're real people in real life. Ready, set, talk. Ooh.
I was hoping somebody was